Well, who the heck are you then, my friend?
I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave. Do you run a television network channel at all?
I don't know.
You don't? You've never heard of a network channel called Dave?
I've heard of it. Unfortunately, I have
But you don't run it?
no role within it.
What about the church? Do you think it's relevant to the 21st century?
Of course, yeah. It's been a dominant feature within the life of many people for many years, and there's no reason why it would stop in the 21st century.
Have you got any non-Christian mates, Dave?
I do, yes.
What do they think about the church? Would they go? Are they interested? Did they talk about it?
Some of them, not that they see it as irrelevant, but they don't see the relevance, if that makes sense. It's not an active understanding of there's no point. They see the point and the good that many Christians do, but it's never grabbed them, as it were, to the importance of everything.
So it's relevant to you, but not to them?
Yes. In a very roundabout way of saying that.
Got
Yes.
you, got you. What about the Bible? Do you think that the Bible would be of interest to your non-Christian friends, speaking about them? Do they profess any interest in what it's got to say?
Some of them would, yeah. One of my friends has said that his reason for not being able to believe in a God is because of science. Unfortunately, when he said this, it was at a time in my life when I wasn't really able to respond very well. Now, if he said that, I'd have many things to say to him. But at the time, I didn't. But I think if that would be of interest to him, one particular friend, and to then develop that conversation from there, I think he'd find that very interesting.
What about preaching? Is preaching a good way to get the Bible across to your friends?
It depends how one preaches. If it's preaching, then no. If it's engaging and relevant and makes a connection between what the Bible is and what it says and who the person is and their context in life, then yes, I'd say that can be relevant to them.
Okay, I've got to ask you this. Forgive me, I've got to use the hand signals here. If it's preaching,
yes,
preaching. What is preaching as opposed to good communication that's relevant?
Well,
and
I'd say
interesting?
preaching is sort of saying, "Oh, this is ours. You have to believe this," and not sort of being very dictatorial in the way, more in the sort of non-religious context of preaching, that sort of someone's preaching to you rather than engaging in conversation with you, saying you have to believe this and this is the way things are, and not allowing any scope for discussion or question or querying.
So really just proclamation is out but discussion is in?
Yes, so I mean there's a place for all kinds of ministry, but you find some people maybe in town centre saying, oh, you have to believe this, and you're all going to go to hell if you don't. And it's not very... That kind of conversation, for me, doesn't work, and I don't think for my friends it would work, because it doesn't seem relevant, and it doesn't explain anything. It's just, I'm right, you're wrong, because you're in a different situation to me. I'd say that's sort of more preaching and saying then, to change, you have to believe these things without explaining why there's a relevance to believe them or how that can affect anything.
Is the other way working? The conversational way, the discussional way? Is that working in terms of getting your friends following Jesus Christ?
I've not seen any massive changes, but I would never give up hope that as things develop and they see the way I live, and hopefully that's a good thing, and then they would then feel more comfortable to engage in conversation, and from there things can move. I think it's a slower process but a more effective one.
Final question, mate, and thank you very much for this interview.
That's all right.
Do you think Britain's broken, and if so, why?
It's no more broken than it ever has been before. I think whichever part of history you look at, there's an aspect where you can say that Britain was broken then, and we just have different issues to people did 50 years ago. But if you look at the things that go on, there's relevances and similarities and connections you can make between all stages of British history. There is a brokenness, we're not complete all together, there's not a sense of unity across all different divides, whether they be gender, class or racial. But I don't think Britain is any more broken than it has been. There are things that can be healed and there's improvements that can be made, but it's not as pessimistic a view as some people would take.
What do you think is our biggest challenge as a nation to put right?
I don't know.
Mate, that is a good enough answer. Let me
I really don't know.
That is a good enough answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I really don't know.
Can I just say thank you very much indeed for this interview, and for
thank
your
you.
honesty as well. Really appreciate it. God bless you.
You too.